Hello, my fellow chatterers and magical readathon lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you have got a bit lost. Welcome everyone, I am Chatty, this is my channel Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly about my segment number 3 of my segmented study. So this is where I sort of try and blog my magical readathon experience, but in parts because I can only do one long shot at a time because my laptop is very ancient and won't let me edit my long videos. So it could be chaos. It's one shot, there's no editing. Cheers everyone. Clink, clink, clink. So if you have not seen the other parts of my segmented study, I will link the first video here. And this is all to do with the Magical Readathon, Orilium, created by G from Book Roast, and all of her announcement videos and explanations about what all this is in the description box, so you can check all of that out if you're not sure what's going on. But basically I'm talking about books. So for my character PioLurs is studying to be a star whisperer, and also adding alchemy on the side because he enjoys it. And for alchemy, I had to read Stone to Copper, the first book in a series. And for that, I read Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton. This was buddy read that I did with Vadania from Vadania Silverscribe and Chloe from Phantom of the Pages. We all are lucky enough to get the Fairy Loot book box, and so we are trying to buddy read books roughly sort of one a month or one every 2 months, and we kind of help each other continue to make sure we read the books and not just have them as beautiful art on our shelves. And they are very, very beautiful. Look at these wonderful, oh you can't because the light's terrible, wonderful watery edges here. And I'm delighted to say that this book is as gorgeous as the cover. I am so pleased because I was so excited about this one. It just sounded incredible. It's about a siren who lives, we've got a full-on fantastical world. There's witches, humans, fae, and she shouldn't be there, but there is also a siren as well. Sirens are, had thought they'd all been killed off because they were wicked and not wanting to exist in this world. And there's a magical barrier around them to kind of like keep out other things, to keep them all safe, is the theory behind it all. And so our siren protagonist, Saoirse Sarkova, has to basically keep her nature hidden and pretend that she is fae. She has this kind of, as part of her nature, she does have this kind of pull and calling when she is near water to kill people. So that's a little bit of a downside to your nature to have. Could get a bit awkward. And she kind of keeps it under wraps by being an assassin. So she assassinates people on the side whilst training to be a soldier, and then she's kind of given an assignment which brings her closer to the royal family. We also get to meet her family, and we learn that she's going to do anything to protect her sister, and she ends up sort of having to investigate her own murders. And that whole concept I thought was highly entertaining. So it is a YA fantasy. It is, because of that, it has this really nice fast-paced feel to it. There is sort of a bit of there is like an underlying love story, but it's very much kind of secondary to the plot, which is how I enjoy mine the most. I like it to be secondary to the plot. I have more fun that way. But all of it was highly enjoyable. Our protagonist, Saoirse, was really, really fun to be inside her head. She's battling with her own kind of inner urges. She's suspicious of everyone, but kind of would like to trust some people. Adores her family. Doesn't suffer fools. She's very blunt and upfront, which is delightful. She has a big chip on her shoulder, but utterly well deserved. And she starts to learn more about the world that she's in and just kind of how twisted it is, whilst aware that she is, you know, painted in a certain light and it's not all unkind. There is a truth to it all. So it's really really interesting to kind of be in her head. And the plot of all of that being managed in all these different parts is really good fun. The chemistry between her and her romantic interest is a really nice slow burn. I really enjoyed it, and like both characters kind of grow as well. And there is very much a kind of feeling of people being held accountable for everything. So nothing is kind of like skirted over and kind of shown in a certain way to make it clear that there's an excuse for everything. Although you can understand where they're coming from, you are questioning the morality of the characters, and you're meant to. And the characters inside are aware of that, so they're very aware of their own failings and aware of their own the struggles that they are dealing with. And I really love that it doesn't shy away from that. It really kind of unpicks all of that and pushes it in your face, and it was so much fun. Also, the magic in this and how that's explored, I really hope we get to spend more time with witches, because I'm really fascinated by them. One of the magical items, they have these beads that are made by runes, and it changes your appearance. So that is how Saoirse and a few other people kind of get by in this world, by faking it, pretending to be someone that they are not fully, in order to avoid harassment, and to survive, basically. So this was so much fun. I had a brilliant time with this. There was when we were all reading it together, it was really fun to kind of like be wanting to know more, wanting to know the answers, talking about the things we enjoyed, and why we enjoyed them. Vadania definitely did not love it as much as me. I think Chloe enjoyed it on a similar level, but Vadania definitely like struggled with kind of like the morality of it all. She was like, not kind of for me exploring these themes, whereas I've never found these themes explored before in this way, and I really enjoyed it. I think particularly in books where you do have kind of like an assassin character or a character that can kill, you don't necessarily always find them believable, but the way kind of like the mythology of this book was done and how it was all explored, I felt it worked. I think it's not for everyone. I think other people would kind of find, or maybe the characters are too young to kind of have that level of cynicism and that level of ability. But I felt it worked for the story really well, in terms of like the power levels and sort of like the underclass, that's not the right word, sort of the lower class survival and kind of the hidden side of it. What would you call that? When you're kind of underground, it's not underground world, but that kind of thing, that you've got to survive, basically. So the survival skills in here, I found it very believable. I found the protagonist really kind of badass, but in a very like, not a Mary Sue way. Like, what I really enjoyed about the book was there were definite there were limitations to things, and you could see those limitations, and it worked within everything, and the strengths and limitations were clearly there, so you felt that things could happen, that you know, there were safe moments and there were unsafe moments, and they all hit at the right time. There was lots of like, oh crap moments in here, which I really enjoyed, and it was done in a way that you're kind of reading it and you're sort of scared about what's going to happen, but also you're finding it hilarious as well. So I really enjoyed those moments. I really enjoyed the characters. Things that I wanted to sort of like happened, and there were things I wasn't expecting in here, and it was just a really, really fun read. I had a great time with this. I cannot wait to see where this story goes. There is going to be more. It is the first in a series which hits that prompt. Yeah, I can't wait. I feel there's going to be more really fun stuff occurring. I hope we still get to hang out with some of these characters, but I feel more is going to open up, and there is still a tension here as well. Like, not everything has been resolved in terms of the plot. You can see like there was a resolution of there was definitely a resolution to the end, but we are far from having this utopian world. There is still a lot of work to be done. There was a lot of work to be done in kind of the in the romance side of it as well, and it's all kind of like not just miscommunication or barriers for the sake of barriers. It's very much to do with kind of these intrinsic feelings the characters have about themselves and their own ability to cope with things that have been done. And it just feels like, you know, that they've got different roles that they need to be doing, and it's not really appropriate for them to kind of get together right now and just be off in a little love bubble. And it's going to be interesting to see how they explore that, how they overcome that, how things happen. So I really hope, I'm very hopeful that Gabby Burton is going to produce an amazing second book as well. There is a lot of material to work with here, and this was a fantastic, I think it's a debut. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. So that means that PioLurs is now free to study another class. I am also reading Making Money. I haven't actually started it. I thought I would be starting it, but I've got some other books I was reading kind of at the same time. And we kind of were reading this faster than what I expected. But I am going to be reading Making Money by Terry Pratchett for... can't remember which subject, but it's there. But we're now going to choose another one for PioLurs. So let's see what he will also be studying next. For Psionics and Divination Level O, PioLurs must study the Introduction to Tarot. With the random tarot generator, use the symbol from the tarot card in either the title or on the cover. And for this, I am reading The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. The Shadow Cabinet is the second book in the adult fantasy series Her Majesty's Royal Coven. So for the random tarot generator, I pulled out this tarot card, and we can see we have a pentacle star here, and at the bottom of the cover we have got a pentacle star. So this worked perfectly. So I'm so excited for this book. I absolutely loved Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and I actually read it for the spring equinox. If you want to see the video where I talk about that one, it's here. I have where I hope this book will go. I kind of have a prediction that another character is going to like take over and be like the main character of the story. And I really am hopeful about that. I think it'll be really exciting. I love the themes that were explored in the last one, so I'm hoping we get more of the same. So it's going to be a fun time. So far I've read the prologue of the first 3 chapters. And we've had 2 different points of view. One by a previous character in the first book and one by a new character, but not the character I was hoping for. But that character does have some viewpoints in here as well. So maybe they're not going to be as main as I hope. It's going to be more of a mixture of everyone. But we'll see. It's certainly very interesting what's going on. And is going in a way that I wasn't quite expecting. But we'll see how it progresses. I'm so excited. I'm already quite hooked on this. So it's going to be so much fun to keep reading. Please let me know what you are reading, how you are doing with your August reads, if you're taking part in any readathons, and if you have any thoughts and opinions on the books that I have mentioned. Happy reading, everyone!